Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is How Up I Was. It's time for the rant.
The rant.
The rant. The rant.
Let's talk about reinventing the wheel. Damn. Did you all nearly throw up then? Thank you to Tony Hill for that wonderful little intro video there on the history, a brief history on the wheel. I hope you're all doing good. It is the rant. Let's say hello to everybody. It's the start of the week here. I'm feeling terrible today. I don't know why. I feel like I've woken up and I've got the flu or some weird thing going around, covered by CQ. Rise of Dark Leela's going for a walk. Thomas Christ. There's Thomas Pukian. Jenny Jolivet. Legs 11. Scott Borthwick just dropped a brand new song. Oh, yeah. Which we're going to feature this week on the show at some stage. Joe Glenn's in the house. Ed Metal is in the house as well. Who else do we see? I saw Chris Lane Sr. up the top early. There he is. Oh, there he is. I want to say blanket hellos, Chris Lane Sr. Ooh, what are we going to talk about today? There's Hugh Caldwell. Hello. Duvets of love from the phone. Man, it's getting cold here in Australia. Let me tell you that. Getting up in the mornings, not so fun. Not so fun. It's going to get worse, and Legs has got some wheels. So what are we going to talk about today? The wheel, the invention of the wheel. Yes, we're going to talk about the wheel. That's all we're going to talk about. The wheel. The wheel. The irony doesn't escape me. This is the wheel right here. We use this on the Patreon every week to decide who's going to win the codes for the apps that I look at during the week. And you can see I forget what this was for, but these are the people. Some of them have won, so this was a longer list. But you too can become a Patreon, and there it is right there. Boom. Thomas is on fire, isn't he? And that's the wheel. And you can become a Patreon, have a chance to win codes and get your music mastered. We mastered some music this week, which was rad. So that's the wheel. Let's come back over here. Lots of wheel stuff today. FPC, there's Fat Panda Cat doing good. I hope you are. Just said that like Yoda. So what are we talking about today? Well, I'm going to hold off a little bit longer because there's lots of really cool apps coming up this week and maybe something the Xbox. I swear to God, Ed, we're going to be at the end of the year and that Xbox joke is still going to be relevant, I reckon. Adam Burse, what's going on, Adam? Good to see you too. I hope you're well. Xbox forever. All right. Let's tell you what's going on here on the channel just this week and let you know. So we got some rad apps coming up this week. We're this thing tomorrow, Harmony Bloom. It's a beautiful thing. Wow. I was sitting up last night playing with this, making my project for the show. And this thing is just Oh my God. So many goosebumps making music with this. So if you're interested in seeing this, it's going to happen tomorrow on the show. Then we have Axon 3 the day after, which is a neural net drum synthesizer. Very interesting concept using neural net technology to create drums and stuff. Very, very interesting. Some really cool stuff this week, apps wise. Then on Wednesday, US UK time, before Thomas Christ You Rock, will be the show we dropped last week because I needed a day off, and that will be this. The Bleece multiband compressor, and boy, is this thing a monster. You can take sound and just take it to another level. It's more than a compressor, let me tell you that. It's not really a compressor. It's got the name compressor in it, but what it can do is just really, really powerful. It can take an incredibly weak sound and turn it into something incredibly awe-inspiring. Very cool app. And then we've got our interview, or do we, this week. I'll let you know more about that as the week goes on. But we're closing out this week's show this week with no Walk With Me for 2 weeks because I need a break. And we're looking at Bass Hammer from Nembrini. So a brand new bass cabinet. And it's brutal. It's really cool. So you know what's happening now on the show. Let's get down to what we're talking about today, and that is Reinventing the Wheel. Why have I chosen that for the name of the topic? And what is the topic? I don't even know, really. But it is reinventing yourself, because it is a thing that many artists and creators, musicians, videographers, movie producers, actors have done throughout the many, many decades of being entertainers, creators. You get to a point where you either, by conscious decision, decide to pivot and reinvent yourself and try something different, maybe because, and there's multiple reasons this can happen. It can happen because, the world is ever changing every day. And do you feel relevant in the way the world is progressing? And you never know which way the world is going to progress, do you? Because who knew only like 2 weeks ago we were going to be in the situation we're in, like over in the Middle East at the moment and stuff, and like there's a lot of chaos going on. Things are always changing. And Gary Hubs, here's somebody who changes his beard every now and again. Sometimes. But, and when is the right time to reinvent and change and manipulate who you are or what you are? So we'll try and go through some layers of it, because there's the creativity level, right? And let's put it in a category of like music, art, photography, videography, production, all this kind of stuff. That's like creativity. Then you've got content, which is starting to blur. Content and creation starting to blur. Making music is now, these days, on platforms like YouTube, you're getting content out of creating music. Like, I'll do a show on here where I'm showing you my process of actually creating music and sucking content out of something else. So the lines are blurring between content and creativity, that you're constantly like, and this show, I feel like I try to constantly update and reinvent and change around what's going on, because I don't know, there's an argument too, isn't there, at the same time, that change scares people off. Look at, we'll talk about some bands, but then there's self, who you are. There's that stuff as well. So outside of creativity and content, then you've got yourself. Where do you fit inside the world, and how do you reinvent yourself? And how do you tell if a reinvention's just a gloss of paint? Because is a gloss of paint a full reinvention of something? Now, I chose the wheel to be the title of the show because, trust me, I did some studies last night on the wheel, and there's been a lot of people who've tried to change the wheel. And yeah, that hasn't gone so well. Some things don't need to be changed. They're perfect. And some things are hard to change because, like, where do you go? Now, watching documentaries on the history of the wheel last night, when you start getting to a square wheel, that was enough. That was when I didn't really need to do much more investigating, did I? Because, sure, aerodynamics and rims and things like that have helped increase speed, but has it changed the way that it actually moves forward? Has it changed it? No. Or goes backwards? No, it hasn't. But a square wheel certainly didn't help. That was like putting poo on your cornflakes. It was a fail. Not a really good idea. So not all things need to be reinvented. And this has been proven with music. Because let me tell you, there's been some artists who have reinvented themselves and it's turned out to be the best thing they could have ever done. And then there's some artists out there whose reinvention didn't go so well. So we'll take a look at some of those as well. Hello, Russ. Is it like the flat earth? Well, remember, the flat earth, let's get historical here. The flat earth came from a time when people were window lickers and they didn't have windows to lick. So it's very interesting that with everything that we've learned over the many years, that some people have decided to go back to window licking now that we have windows. I think that's all I need to say on that. But the wheel is the wheel, and the wheel is over here. There it is, the wheel. Well, see, this would suck if it was a triangle, because how many people could I fit on the triangle? Not many. It wouldn't really work. Let's take a look at some artists. I want to start here. Two artists. Let's start with two artists. Now, they're from the metal world, all right? That one of them went really well when they reinvented themselves, and the other one went tits up really bad. And they both went in from a similar change. So let's just say one of them was a glam rock band, and then they turned into this ultra brutish male, evil metal band, and it worked for them. It worked, and it put them on the map, and they became huge. The other band, they were black metal, corpse paint, evil, really dark. People were so scared of their music. I think at one point they were in the Guinness Book of Records for being one of the most evilest bands on the planet. And they went glam rock. And boy, did that not work for them. That did not work for them. So Pookie's on it. Look at Pookie. Hey, there's my Pookie. She knows she's on the Gary's there. All right. So these guys did it really well. Let's have a look. What did Pantera used to look like? Well, let's have a look. Oh dear. This. Look at Phil. Look at Dimebag. Damn, man. Yeah, Cold Acre's on it as well. But look at that. Now, of course, I can't play any music for you, but the music absolutely represented what was going on here. Like, these guys were pretty much Cinderella. I mean, they look like Cinderella, don't they? They look like Poison, compare them to, like, later on, with respect, what do you say? And all this shit. This is where they came from. I mean, it looks like they've just got off the docks from sucking dick, doesn't it? It looks like they're just $1 fucks down at the docks. They're quite pretty. I mean, you would take one of these home, and tell your parents, look at the lovely ladies I met at the docks, Phyllis Anselmo. Oh, Ed thinks that Phyllis looks quite sexy. Okay. And Herbert says, I miss the 80s where men were men. Well, isn't this ironic too? Because it makes me laugh now that the way, because we're going to talk about this is the way the world changes. In the 80s, it was so acceptable for men to look like women. The majority of artists in the top 100 were guys dressed as women. And it was like, it was just the thing. And, Boy George, Marilyn, there's just so many you can go with. Everyone had eyeliner on. Everyone had lipstick on. It was just the done thing. Let's move forward, 2024, and the main problem with society at the moment, apparently, is trans people. It's just bizarre how the world has shifted. And for anybody who thinks that we are forward, we are progressing, there's a lot of places we're not. There's a lot of people out there who want us to go back to, some really archaic times, and it's happening. But look at Pantera. They look delightful, don't they? A lot of denim, a lot of chest hair, and because they did change. If we have a look, I'm sure. Oh, wow, here we go. Here they are now. Look at them. Well, back then. Look at them there. Still, have you noticed something that still remained, though? What's the one thing that remained? Yes, there it is. This revolting hair. That, the hair didn't change. The only hair that really changed was less hairspray and no hair on Phil. Phyllis became Phil, and a very masculine Phil with a very predominant jawline. Do you think that he used to stick his jaw out like that to really just try and confirm to everybody that he's not Phyllis anymore? I don't know. But the music changed, and this was, for Pantera, possibly the greatest move of all time. Yeah, because this put them on the map, right? I think, like most Pantera fans, had no idea of their early shit because it was rubbish. That's my opinion. I really shouldn't put that on anybody else, but I remember getting into Pantera on Cowboys from Hell, which was like the first kind of iteration of their change, and was like, man, this is rad. What a sick album. And then I went back and saw the other stuff and was like, wow, that's dog shit. I'm so glad I wasn't a fan then. So, reinvention in this instance was the thing that made this band explode. Not only did they reinvent the way that they looked, they reinvented the way that their music sounded completely. And, they were heavy as hell instead of like Motley Crue. Hello, Feisty Feather. Is there anyone I've missed while I'm ranting? And E-Urban. Good to see you, E-Urban. I miss the 16th century where kings were manly, frills and lace. What do you mean? You know what? Where did the Greeks go wrong? I'll tell you where they went wrong, when they stopped fucking each other up the arse. It's where it all went wrong. Anyway, and Greg O'Sullivan, welcome. All right, let me have a sip of my coffee and we'll talk about the opposite end. The opposite end of the scale, because it's sad. This is a really sad story. This is the story of Celtic Frost. And here is Celtic Frost. This was the album they released called Cold Lake. Now, Cold Lake, look at that photo. I just pay particular attention to this. The unzipped pants with the pubic hair popping out of the top. Now, I don't know what dimension that Perry and his perm here thought this was a good idea, but here is one of the biggest mistakes in reinvention in the music industry that I've ever seen. This is the biggest fail ever. Whoever was their management at this, even if they had, I don't know. I remember being a big Celtic Frost fan, or Celtic Frost, however you want to say it, and they were so evil and so doomy and so scary, and and we're going to look at their previous photos, and then this album came out, and I was like, what? Hang on, what? How come I didn't get the memo that metal was now this? Yeah, and that's true, isn't it? Cold Acre says, Tom G. Warrior is not a pretty man. Like, look, there he is. He's this one here. He's a very ugly man. Look at his face. It's very small. He's got that Chris Benoit face. It's very small. Like, all of his features are too big for his face. So putting lipstick and a perm on him was like, not a good idea. Not a good idea. I mean, they're not gorgeous guys, are they? These are some really ugly dudes trying to look like pretty boys, and it failed big time. So this album got panned bad. It sat on the shelf. People bought it. People returned it. I purchased it, took it back. I remember taking it back to Pipe Imported Records and saying, nah, I refuse to even own this. Keep it in my house. Hi, Chad Freeman and Cold Acre and Mark's Gas Station. I refused to own it. Took it back. Yeah, pubes out. It's not a thing, is it? Like, hi, everybody. Just got my pubes out. How you all going? Everything good? Now, it's funny because if you look at, there's not many photos of them like this. Because, oh, damn, look at this one. I mean, they're all really blurry too because it was so long ago. But I don't know what's happening here. Is he trying to, like, this dude here, is he trying to be the part from Judy Blume's Are You There, God? It's Me. I must increase my bust. Is that what's going on right there? Why is he sticking his chest out like that? And look at that. Look, it's very odd behavior to go from what they did look like, which let's have a look. So here we are. So they were quite the evil looking, still a bit gay, gay looking, but at the time, this was the metal, the crosses, the darkness, the evil, the skulls. So to go from this to I mean, there's lots of other. Here we go. So Celtic Frost. Look at him. Look at him. Look at that. What happened? It's like somebody like broke into their house and poured LSD into their drink, and they were just like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's God damn, look." So not all the time is it best to reinvent yourself, right? Especially if it's you got to read the room, I think. Read the world room, because sometimes Feisty Feather's closed over. She's so excited about it. I remember when I was young. Because they were like Celtic Frost were regarded as like a satanic band, yeah. And I remember one of my friends, when I bought the album home, we looked at the back of the cover, and we saw the pubes sticking out, and my friend looked at me and went, "Praise hell, Saturn." I guess so. I guess that's where we're at now. So Saturn is in the house. Very, very odd, because there's been a lot of artists throughout the years who have changed and pivoted and reinvented themselves. I don't know. Look, you'd probably have to lose the beard, Chad, and that would help. It never helps having a beard, right? If you're going to be pretty, you know what I'm saying? Imagine that looking up at you while bobbing your apple. Oh, I've missed you, Urban. All hail Saturn, everybody. Saturn, the softest material of all time. But reinvention has been a thing throughout musicians and stuff like that. Let's talk about some artists and see what some websites say that artists have changed themselves. And we'll look at some artists that have changed themselves for the better and some who have changed themselves for the good. See, one I think who has changed for the good, before we even look, this is just personal opinion, and that is, oh God, I've had a brain fart. Oh, look, this person is Miley Cyrus. I think Miley Cyrus has done a fantastic job of changing herself from being a Disney boring, just sickly sweet load of nonsense to being controversial and constantly, like, because here's the other thing too. Is it such a bad thing to be like constantly in the media as like doing crazy things? I mean, grinding yourself on things. She completely pivoted. You know, she went from being the Disney princess all the way to like gyrating against everybody and highly sexualized. But that's been the music industry forever, highly sexualized. It just has been. Like, as long as I've been alive, that's what it's been. You know, I love Disney stuff as much as the next lady champion. But, you know, there's a place for everything. So I thought that was funny. Damn. Anyway, let's jump over here and look at this. So this is from Far Out magazine, and I love seeking sources that are just utterly dog shit. Far Out magazine. Who says Far Out anymore? So this is from 2023. 10 rock artists that reinvented themselves. And this says this is not a like either. So they have reinvented themselves, and it doesn't say if it was for the best or for the worst. So who do we have here? Pantera, of course, is listed straight away. Pantera is listed as one of these artists that reinvented themselves, and it was a huge change. The other thing is Celtic Frost aren't going to be in here because they're too underground. And once they turned into a glam band, boy, did they go even further underground with that. So Pantera started as, you know, looking totally douchey, and then progressively became totally douchey. It's true. Pink Floyd. Here is a band, definitely Pink Floyd. I was shocked. The first introduction I got to Pink Floyd, it was, of course, you know, stuff like The Wall, all the big stuff, yeah? And then when I went back and listened to early Pink Floyd, I was literally blown away by how different they were. Because they were, you know, Astronomy Domain, all that kind of stuff, really out there, fucking, yeah. And it felt like after Sid Barrett gone from Pink Floyd, that then going back to newer Pink Floyd seemed like a real commercial band, you know, totally commercial. But they weren't. Like Pink Floyd, I've never really looked at Pink Floyd as a commercial band, but the difference is absolutely stark. From where they ended up to their beginnings. Absolutely, completely different. And that shows, I mean, Pink Floyd is probably a little bit different than a lot of artists in the way they change, because there are some bands who have like a member of the band, and when that band member leaves or dies or whatever, the entire makeup of the band changes, reinvents itself naturally, because you're never going to recreate that really unique part of the band. It's like Faith No More. It's a band like that. They had Chuck Mosley as their singer. I found them incredibly boring with Chuck Mosley. And then Mike Patton came in, and a completely different band, completely different. A total pivot just by replacing a band member. So, you know, pivots can change from band members changing. So Pink Floyd, huge. Damon Albarn, I don't even know who that is. Am I showing my age here? Is this like some kind of... hang on, let me read. Why do I not know this? Oh, is this Blur? Is he the guy in Blur? Blur have always gone through somewhat of an identity crisis before becoming the darlings of Britpop. All right. Damon Albarn had envisioned something in the realms of shoegaze. So there you go. I don't really listen to that, so I don't care. U2. U2's definitely a band. U2 went from being a huge band in the 80s. And then they pivoted completely. And you know what they did? They forced us all. They forced us all on Apple to download their new album, which was fucking rubbish. Now, that was a pivot that was utterly fucking evil, and I still haven't forgiven U2 for that, and I don't think I ever will. Does anybody else remember that? the day that you got up, and if you had an iPhone or Apple Music, and you opened your Apple Music, and all of a sudden there was the new U2 album, which you never paid for, you never asked for, you never wanted Bono on your goddamn phone, but there it was, and it had been forced upon me. It was like having going to sleep and waking up after, and somebody had done a lobotomy on me, right? Put it in this way: the one thing about U2 that really, the thing that yes, songs about freedom, irony. It does not escape us, does it? The irony. You too will listen to our new album, absolutely. Now, I'll tell you why they did this. Because nobody was giving a shit about them. The direction they got, remember fucking, was it called Yellow? Yellow? Man, they pivoted big time and fucking everybody went, nope. In the 80s, they had a string of big albums, Joshua Tree, big albums. And their pivot failed. They, you know, there are some bands out there who are so confident. They're so confident. They're like, our new album, we're trying something different, and we've got this new sound, and we know that our fans are going to love it. And then it comes out, and the fans go, "What the fuck?" Yeah, U2 did make some great songs. They did. That I'm not shitting on them, but later on. They made decisions. They thought that they would change, and then the songs didn't really hit with people because, you know, it depends on what. It's hard, you know. When is the time to change? This is the thing. This is what I'm trying to put out there today for all of us to think about. Is there a time to change? This not only is about music, but about content and the way we engage with our audience. What kind of content does our audience want? Where's the Lars impression? You remember that photo I've got, Gary Hubbs, of the dartboard, the Lars Ulrich dartboard? I think I sent it to you once before. I tried to take that to market, the Lars Ulrich dartboard. But you can make one really easy. Just get a dartboard, put Lars Ulrich's face on it, and just throw. And you'll have a great time. Good times abound with the Lars Ulrich dartboard. Good stuff. U2, it's one of these. I'm sure Metallica's going to be in this. They have to. Oh, what do you know? Next up, look at that, Metallica. Look, I could do 3 shows on this band. For those of you who grew up with Metallica, right? You loved Metallica. We got into it because it was high energy. It went against the grain. It was British metal crossed with this American flavor. It just had something. It grabbed you as soon as you heard it. It was fantastic. And then, well, I don't know. Now people have different opinions on when Metallica fell down the toilet and pivoted. But for me, it will always be, even though I still like the album, I still love it and I've listened to it a lot, it was the Black Album for me. It's Bob Rock. And do I actually blame Metallica for it? I don't think so. I think I blame Bob Rock. I think Bob Rock is a cocksucker. And I'm not casting dispersions on anyone who actually likes, because, I've been there. Anyway, speaking of that, the perfect time to run a YouTube ad. You can avoid the ad at halfway point of the show by becoming a premium subscriber, or just waiting for the ad to play and then skipping and coming back, and we'll wait for you to come back. The ad has been run. In the meantime, if you missed yesterday's show, go back and have a look. Yesterday I did an opening hour and I sung a whole bunch of your covers, and I had the privilege of, like I always do, get to sing your guys' songs. I got to sing 15th Band, Lizard Day, lots of stuff. Got to sing so many good artists, the Chandler Brothers, Mr. Smith, and it was a really good fun show. So go ahead and have a look. and watch me make a fool of myself. Hopefully you're back from the ad and we can continue on with Metallica. Let's get back over to Metallica. Okay, so where did they go wrong? They went wrong by getting Bob Rock involved. Bob Rock is a shit producer who overproduces stuff and makes it palatable to all of the dumb fucks that I went to school with who wanted to punch me in the head for listening to Metallica. So I have a personal issue with Metallica, right? Because I feel like I went through school and wore the Metallica shirt and got punched by everyone for it. Stupid metalhead, loser metalhead. And I took the blows being a Metallica fan and every day waving the Metallica flag. And then when I left school, Metallica turned around and went, you know what? We're now going to make music for all of those fuckheads that punched you up at school. And then when school, like the end of school was up, when I was 17 years old and left year 12, I would walk down the street and come across all those idiots who used to bash me for being a metalhead. And they're now wearing Metallica shirts. And I was so dark on it, man. It was like, I gave you all my money, Metallica. I gave you my blood, sweat, tears, and vomit and everything. And then you sold out to the people that we were like fighting against. The assholes. Did you get Did you get a manscaping ad? I love that. But then Metallica got worse, didn't they? Unfortunately, it got worse. But at least they did crawl back. Yeah, I think they made a comeback. So then Load came out and Reload, and wasn't that a fucking absolute load of exactly total rubbish. Load was just an absolute piece of shit. I think I hate Load more than I hate Saint Anger. And then there was Saint Anger. So 4 albums for me for Metallica, just rubbish. They pivoted way too far. And the worst thing about Saint Anger was before it dropped, Lazarick was doing all these interviews and telling everybody, oh yeah, man, our new Metallica album's going to be like Meshuggah. And I'm like, are you sure? Meshuggah. It's going to be like Meshuggah. Like Metallica's going to be like Meshuggah. And then it came out, Saint Anger, and it was Meshuggah. Okay, it was closer to Rhett's Mix Club's Meshuggah Shack Girl. Meshuggah, 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 Meshuggah. It was closer to that than it was the actual band Meshuggah. Get the fuck out of here, Metallica. But as I said, Metallica pivoted. I'll tell you how they pivoted. They came back with some better albums. And, you can complain now and say that they're still kind of rubbish, but I still think like these days they're a decent mix between old stuff and new stuff. And Rob's finally a good bass player and, it all works. And Lazarick's a cockhead. There we go. So, Nirvana, I don't agree with this. I don't know. What do you guys think of this? Do you think Nirvana changed a lot? I don't know. I think, I don't know, my opinion on this was, I don't know. Nirvana were always pretty much as they are. Come as you are. I don't think they pivoted too much. I think they were always pretty grungy and pretty obnoxious and pretty, I don't agree with that one. I don't think they changed. Depeche Mode. The Beatles. Here we go. I'm skipping past Depeche Mode. The Beatles, definitely a band that did so, changed. But absolutely different reasons. Why did the Beatles change so much? Not only did they start integrating new instrumentation into their music, but I'll tell you what they did do. They took a fuckload of drugs. It took a fuckload of drugs. And that'll do it to you. Let me tell you, a fuckload of drugs will change. Yeah? So you take a lot of drugs and things yeah. Yeah, see, I don't think sure they had the sound change. It was a bit more You can say, look, all right, sure, you can say the sound changed, the production levels changed, but I don't think the whole message and premise of Nirvana changed too much. They were always pretty avant-garde with the lyrical style, quite aggressive, yeah. But I think obviously the production changed as Metallica, right? With the production changed, but the songwriting changed incredibly. It became very simplified, very dumbed down. I mean, come on, lyrics like, pretty much wish I may, wish I might, have this wish I wish tonight. It's like fairy tale, stupid, dumb children's limericks, Enter Sandman, that's dumb shit. Really dumb lyrics. So I think with Metallica, everything just got dumbed down incredibly. I don't think Nirvana got too dumbed down there. But the Beatles changed a lot. And you know what? The Beatles, it was a struggle for them. A lot of people didn't like it. Yeah? A lot of people loved it. It brought in new fans. But it was, think about this, was it the time that the Beatles changed too? Because we were in a revolution at the time. You had the Vietnam War, you had drug experimentation, you had people fighting back, hippies. It was a time of revolution. So that all tied into why the Beatles changed too. There was a lot of upheaval and uprising, and people were fighting back, and the things we probably should be doing now with our music. Actually fighting back, because music's a really powerful thing. So the Beatles were, I don't know, maybe an influence by drugs, but of the world and as it was happening, what was going around. Because, of course, political things and the way the world is are going to affect music. Also, this dude changed all the time, David Bowie. I couldn't keep up with David Bowie. Everything he did was like a whole new adventure. Yeah, it was like a brand new producer had taken over every single thing that he did, always reinventing himself. Definitely an artist that was continually very bold and very adventurous, took a lot of risks. And, during the 80s, I remember in the 80s, he became very mainstream, and it was like, ugh, what is this? This is so saccharine. What happened to David Bowie? But again, somebody who just consistently molded and moved with the world. And in fact, you could probably even say was a leader of change, was ahead of the curve and made changes before they were cool. Because there are artists that do that too, make the change, make the big steps, and then everybody else follows as well. Well, drugs... when you're talking about any kind of artists from 60s, 70s, 80s, drugs are going to be involved, aren't they? It's a bit different now. Drugs exist, but, you don't see too many artists out there going, well, our whole album is influenced by taking flacker. It's not... Fentanyl got us to where we are. We all sat around and we took fentanyl and we came up with this new album. Maybe if Kurt Cobain was alive, fentanyl would have been an influence. But he's not, is he? So there's some artists that continually change. Who are some artists who changed and failed? Who are they? This is according to a place called, Ranker. Ranker. Whoever they are. Fleetwood Mac changed, had become by 1995, Fleetwood Mac had become the shell of the group's heyday. Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham were long gone, and the lineup was strange to say the list. So, look... And there are bands now this is getting back to what I was saying earlier, when bands lose really important members, people who are, the front-facing face of the band, because regardless, people can say, It's a whole band that makes the band. But a lot of the time, people just gravitate to particular members, and they become, the thing. Think about the Doors. Remember when Jim Morrison died, and the Doors tried to release music after Jim Morrison died? I can't even listen to that shit. Yes, I know, but we're just, I'm just pulling random shit up anyway. So the conversation is, I'm getting to the point. I've got to get there quick. But the Doors, they lost Jim Morrison, and everything changed, and nobody wanted to listen to their shit anymore, because where was the guy, the snake in his leather, talking a load of nonsense on drugs? Where was he? He was gone. Snoop Dogg. Well, Snoop Dogg, look, I'm going to say this. Snoop Dogg is one dude who just continuously reinvents himself, in my opinion. He was on the WWE recently. Last year, he was at WrestleMania, and he kicked the shit out of a wrestler. He actually wrestled. It was amazing. So, I don't know. Snoop Dogg's one of these people who musically, maybe you can say, but the dude continuously reinvents himself, like with his own businesses and stuff. So that's a broader scale of things. And we'll get to this at the Beach Boys. Look what happened to the Beach Boys also. La la la, Beach Boys would, we're all happy. And then like a few of them hooked up with Charles Manson. Oh, the bass player. Hey, Charles Manson. And things got weird, didn't it? Pet Sounds. And people fucking hated that. And Still Cruising. We've got their opinions on this album as well. Bon Jovi, another, who wrote very boring shit music, in my opinion, and just continued to make more shit music as time went on. And this stuff's debatable, sure. Not every band always puts out an album that people aren't going to like, do they? Yeah, see, I think Pet Sounds is the best Beach Boys album, but then my brain's broken. But a lot of people were like, can't do it. No, let's talk about this band now, this band. Look, there are some bands out there who don't change, but due to the world changing around them, leave them behind. This is one of those. This is a band who, man, they didn't change so much that it was the end of them, and they broke up, and there was so much turmoil around them. And then by the time they did get their shit together and come back together, the world had changed, man. Like, goodbye. You're so far behind. It's not going to fly anymore. So there's that too. There are some bands that leave it too late to reinvent themselves, and they just get left. And they're left holding the cum rag. And that's what was happening to... and here we go. Here's another artist, another band that due to losing a member to death, INXS. I mean, these guys went on a tour around the world. They even had a TV show, trying to find a front man to replace Michael Hutchence. And they got that really young guy. What was his name? Is it on here? Jade Fortune, is that his name? And that failed. Like, they were like, he's better than Michael Hutchence. It's like, no, not going to work. And now, I don't know if you're following, if you've caught up with the INXS, they're here in Australia with a really old, well-known Australian singer who's been in a whole bunch of popular Australian bands. And they're sounding really good. Definitely not a Michael Hutchence, but, All right. Why am I talking about this today? Let's, we've had a look at enough examples and stuff. Hi, Bo, and Michael Songs, and Robert Redmond's Clip Channel. All right. So why am I talking about this today? Because I think it's important. I think it's important to take stock as an artist, as a musician, as a creator, creating stuff on YouTube, and take a look at how are you getting stale, and look around the world and look around the people that are, because, even let's just start with YouTube. So as the longer you're on YouTube as a creator and live streaming or presenting recorded content, your audience changes. And over nearly 4 years of me doing that, you can go back to old live streams from 4 years ago and look at the chat. There's some people that have been here and they're still here nearly every day. And there's some people that we haven't seen for 2 or 3 years. Your audience is continually changing for stuff like this, especially live streaming. Yeah, so you have to kind of be always constantly aware of trying to change with your audience, because it does move, it does evolve, and it does change, is what I'm trying to say. And you've got to be able to like look at that and change. And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make changes that are going to fail in the ass and suck terribly, and it's going to be a disaster. But you'll get better at it by experimenting more and more. And this is why artists do pivot and try to reinvent themselves. This is Madonna, who we didn't even touch on, is one of the master chameleons of the music industry. Yeah, she has continued to just get older and somehow look weirder until you look at her hands and then you see there's a crypt keeper under there. But she continues to appeal to young people, and she continues to be relevant. And that's not through plastic surgery and stuff like that. But I think being aware and trying different things and being aware that you can change. And here's the other thing, knowing when not to reinvent yourself. All right? Because sometimes you can be on a good thing that people are really enjoying and they're like, I really like this. But you yourself get a bit bored of it and then go, I'm going to do something else. And all these people go, but no, I really like that thing. So you've got to listen to people as well too. Like Pete says it, Pete John says it all the time. Social media is a great way to like not only advertise and connect with people, it's a great way to listen. It's a two-way street. To listen to people, get feedback on what people are enjoying that you do with your music, your art, your video, whatever it is that you're creating, content, and find a happy medium. If you want to pivot, if you feel like things are a little bit stale, what you're doing, you can change it. But remember, you're going to upset some people, so maybe you find a middle ground. If more of us had a middle ground in this world, we'd probably be a little bit happy if we understood both sides. And you know what I'm saying? So, but don't be afraid to try something dangerous, try something new. Don't jump out of an aeroplane without a parachute. Probably not that, all right? Don't do that. And now I'm demonetized. But there you go. That's my rant for today. There's so many artists I could have covered, right? There's so many. People are constantly reinventing themselves. We are naturally. We do change over time. Go and look at photos of yourself from 10 years ago. We naturally do reinvent ourselves. We are more complex than the wheel, right? The wheel just goes forwards and back. That's it. We go in multitudes of directions with feelings and emotions, and we connect in so many different ways, and we have so many talents and so many things that can go right and wrong. But I'm going to end with this. Like I end every day. Stay awake. Do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better, and we'll all rise together. It's the important stuff. It's just simple stuff. Simple things in life are often the best. Pete Johns is up next. We've got some great shows coming up this week. Thank you for all being here today. It's so wonderful to see so many of you come here to watch me talk a load of nonsense every week. If you hit the like, let me know you're enjoying these rants each week. I've got a really good one coming up next week. Yeah, really good one next week. But we're going to go out today with a brand new song. I'm going to be a little bit all about me, but it's not about me, but kind of, sort of. Pete Johns is up next with the 200th episode of YML. Very exciting stuff. So I'm going to dump you all over there. Amazing job for Pete. Congratulations to Pete Johns. And this is the brand new track that I had the privilege of reinventing myself to be a part of with Matthias Prokowski. This is Software Vulnerability, available now on his YouTube channel. Let's Oge. We'll see you tomorrow or over at Pete's. Boom. If you want to hear the rest of this, subscribe to Mateusz Bukowski. Let's get over to Pete. Let's urge!